PlayStation is and has been a full third-party developer. I refuse to go ahead and adopt this notion now that people are finally coming to say, well, I guess PlayStation is now full third party. I know some of them are saying it tongue in cheek because for the longest time, PlayStation fans, aficionados, supporters, or whatever it is, have tried to, in a sense, redefine what a third party developer is. They've said, well, you have to be publishing on another person's console to be a full third party developer. And I always said that is a whole bunch of bogus nonsense, because what makes you a third-party developer is that you even put your work on a different person's platform. That's what makes you a third-party developer. Now that it's actually come out that we're going to be getting Helldivers 2 on Xbox, of which I finally decided that, I'm going to give PlayStation money because they're doing what I think is the pro-consumer thing. It appears to me now that, nobody can really run away from that reality, but here's the truth. The truth is, PlayStation has been in a position where it's needed to raise its operating margin. In fact, 5 years ago, when PlayStation started the push to being a much more traditional third-party publisher by moving to PC, yes, that day was the day to actually, establish themselves as a third-party publisher. Now, they had been a third-party publisher because they published on PC before, but once Aloy went to PC and then Aloy followed again with the sequel and then other games followed, the bets were off. There was not a full third-party publisher versus third-party publisher. All that stuff was just semantics that people were playing. I don't see why, we gave so much ground in that conversation. But the reality is now here. But here's where the problem is. Many had actually, in some cases, equated being a third-party publisher as a platform holder as you being dead or having capitulated or having, in a sense, bowed out of the console race. Do y'all remember this terminology? Because I'm not the only one that's been seeing it. Oh, Xbox bowed out of the console race. Xbox is no longer a first-party publisher, so they bowed out. They capitulated. They have given up. Do you remember this language? Do you remember this language? In fact, not even 48 hours ago, there's an article that I can even cite for you that even suggests that being a third-party publisher already just kind of means that, your project has failed. Let me show you. This is from Christopher Dring's article where he writes in the games business. He said, based on some of his conclusions and Xbox not recovering from the Xbox One launch, I recommend you read the article for yourself. He says, the Xbox project has failed. And as a result, Xbox is now a third-party publisher. One with a console and a subscription service, but a third-party publisher all the same. So, if I am following Mr. Dring's logic, right? If I am following Mr. Dring's logic, the outcome of being a third-party publisher, right? The outcome that leads to being a third-party publisher is that your project has failed. Right? Because the way he writes it, he says, right? The Xbox project has failed. Bam. Xbox project failed. Bang. Let me go ahead and write it out here. Let me write out the logical outworkings of what this gentleman has actually concluded. And as a result, his own words, not mine, and as a result, Xbox is now a third-party publisher. So the Xbox project fails, and the result led to them being a third-party publisher. Oh, let me make sure I complete it with a console and a subscription service. Let me keep reading. With a console and a subscription service, but a third-party publisher all the same. So now that we have no goalposts to move, even though PlayStation has always been in this particular situation because they've been a third-party publisher all this while. It's just taking a lot of people. I don't know what these standards were because, again, it seems like the bar for PlayStation is always set super high, right? There's no way. But if we take that logic into account, right, we can also wrongly conclude, as you all have been wrong about Xbox's own project, that the PlayStation project has failed. And as a result, they're now a third-party publisher with a console and a subscription service. And I quote, according to you, but a third-party publisher all the same. Do you know how much restraint it takes to not say GTFOH? I mean, you got to understand that this has always been a ruse. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and you see, this is not, maybe this is his comprehension of the gaming industry, even though I disagree. I think it's a bias. But this is what the gaming industry has been doing, and these are the games that they've been playing all this while. Right? I'm going to run around the internet, and we're going to see this notion over and over. Game FAQs. Thread title, how Xbox became a third-party publisher. Interesting video. Are y'all ready? Open link in a new tab. Worth a watch. And yes, it's relevant because Microsoft is now the biggest publisher on PS5. Oh, wait! It's the Icarus video from Colin Moriarty. I didn't even see that coming. I just literally just did the search. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Reset era is February 1st. Look at this. February 16th. February 1st of this year. Is Xbox a third-party publisher now? Huh? Look at this subreddit post. Why would a third party ever publish for Xbox? Skipping Xbox is a choice if they want to see lose potential, blah, 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 blah. Xbox is a third party publisher and not a console maker anymore. Metro. Are y'all seeing it? Are y'all seeing it? Andrew of VGC. What is it that you said? Did you retweet this? The Xbox project has failed, and as a result, Xbox is now a third-party publisher, one with the console and a subscription service, but a third-party publisher all the same. You all were grave dancing on this, Xbox gaming project. You didn't see that pride goes before a fall. Let me tell you something. There is a danger in doing this thing that we're all doing, and I must be real with you. I'm afraid that my ego is going to get in the way. And it does get in the way. And I have to fear it. I have to. Because if not, you'll be the subject of these conversations. Because you go out there and you say some stuff, ends up being that, maybe you actually don't believe what you're saying. Or you actually do believe what you're saying. I don't know which is worse. Because either way, what you're saying is absolutely off, because if we work out the logic, it can't stand. So it's actually a frail notion. I'm not done. Oh, no, I'm not done. Are you kidding me? This is what the internet's been doing in the last few years. Check this out. Icon era. I'm on just the Google search page, guys. I'm not even... February 17th. Is the acquisition of Activision Blizzard the key reason? And this says the opposite. They acquired Mojang, ZeniMax, Activision Blizzard King, and others because they wanted to become third party to grow their revenue. Icarus moment, February 16th. Right? February 27th. The pros and cons of Microsoft becoming partially a third party. Oh, goodness gracious. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, all these articles, notions, and all were all written with the express knowledge that PlayStation was also a third-party publisher and had been for a number of years. I strongly submit to you that there has been a concerted effort to paint Xbox in a bad light. But here's something that's been fun. Businesses have a pressure point. The media and the press, I gotta say, you all have proven yourselves to be irrelevant. That's why I don't bother watching reviews anymore. And that's why I basically look at what you guys are doing. And in my little corner, this noob of a YouTuber, right, is over here pretty much pointing out that there seems to be a problem with y'all's coverage. I think the pressure point, I'll go back to that point here, for businesses is money. And that pressure point is now being pressed in PlayStation. For the longest time, they've been able to skate by with 8% because perception was the game. They thought they could sit on 8% until they knocked Xbox out of the business. That's what I'm almost certain that they were thinking it inside of their own business. Like, you know what? We're going to just chill out here and we're going to just, bleed this company dry. We're going to do third-party deals. We're going to make it hard for them to be Xbox. We're going to create a perception around them that makes it seem like they're, a useless platform. But they didn't realize that Xbox was going to go ahead and make what I thought was a crazy killer move. And while they were on there, the opportunity showed up and they knew it. They recognized it immediately. And they bought Activision Blizzard King. That's when you knew that things were going to be very different. Once Jim Ryan started flying around the world, you knew that that pressure point had already been pressed, had been hit. You already could tell. If nobody could tell you, I could tell. I was like, why is he freaking out? If PlayStation is that superior, he should not be freaking out. And then he retired. I was like, ooh. And now investors are asking, hey, what are you going to do to grow this business? They're pressing the pressure point. So the media can write all they want. It doesn't matter. In fact, in the investor meeting, investors are so beholden to the media narrative that even they speculated that Xbox was leaving hardware. That's how bad it is. That question came up. Now that people are speculating that that Xbox is leaving hardware, what do you think? And they asked that question. They literally asked that question. It wasn't 24, maybe 48 hours later, Xbox had to come out with its announcement that they're going into hardware. That's how bad the media narrative is. It seeped its way into investor perception. However, perception or not, investors are like, we still want our money. And now that they want their money, all of these articles, all of the concerted effort, all of the fugazi that's been carried out in the last few years, talking about Xbox being a third-party publisher as a result of them going to get Activision Blizzard and King, as a result of them basically doing this and this and this, PlayStation is now in the same boat, and y'all have been exposed. That's what's happened.